Hello, welcome back to Going Walkabout. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about Firestore paging and how I deal with that in my API endpoints. My current API endpoints are not very efficient. They just do a query, get the latest 100, and that's about it. Now, of course, every time when I refresh the list, I do 100 reads on Firestore. That's not very efficient from a cost perspective. And second, I don't have a mechanism for paging when I get over 100 results, and I am dealing with that issue already. So today I'm going to show you how to do paging efficiently in Firestore and how to build an API around it to do that. So let's dive into it and let's have a look how I actually did it. I did here in my endpoints, so I did it for users and trips for now, but let's go into the trips. I have an endpoint trips. And remember, this is API/trips because it's the API router that deals with that. And I set up a couple of parameters on the endpoint to deal with the paging. So I have a limit parameter that is just to limit the result set. I might want to have 2, 20, 100, whatever is suitable for your application. I need an after and a before, and it's either one of them. So if I get the first result set and I want to get the next set, I need to use the after parameter. If I have a result set and I want to navigate a page back, I need to use the before parameter. And I'll demo that later on, how to do it exactly. And in my specific scenario, I also have a view parameter, and I use the view to select the column that is used for paging. So it could be on the created, it could be on the updated. And the reason is I'm working on an administrative portal and I want to see what is the latest trip created, but I also want to see what is the latest updated trip. And that's how we continue. So let's go into the actual results. So this is the endpoint with the parameters. I have restructured my validation a little bit. If you remember from the previous episode, I'm not sure yet what is the best way to validate. This time I'm doing it with Express Validator because I like the way I can influence the error messages given. And that is for this endpoint the main reason why I use this. Then I have to validate the request. So if anything fails here, it's catched with this validator. So I have it in one uniform way to present the errors back to my client. And then I go my get users or my get trips. It's actually the same thing. So let's go into the trips. And it's very simple. It's my get trips. I do get my variables, my parameters from the request query, so the limit, and I set it to 10 if it's not set. I have an after, before, and I set my default view. Now I create my initial, let's say, trip collection. This is the ref to the collection, the trips order by view, what is default to create a descending, so the latest on top. Then if I have an after parameter, I say, okay, start after the after parameter with a limit again of the number of documents you want to have. Else if there's a before, and before a limit to last. And this is a pretty recent addition to the API. And it says actually, so it limits to last. So yeah, if I have, I'm on page 3, it will use to subtract the number to get to that. Anyway, the Firebase documentation can explain it a lot easier for you, but this way you can page forward and page backwards. And if no paging parameter is given like after, I just limit it to the result. Now, for the rest is simple. I get my snapshot, I walk through, I create trips, I push the trips on the stuff, and I push that to the client. That's the number of trips, return, and I added pagination. Now, the pagination is a little bit tricky because the first time when you get results, you don't have the ability to go to a previous page because you're on the first one. If you're on the last page, you don't have a next. And so you need to manage that. And I do that by setting null to previous if I'm on the first load and null on the next when there are no next results anymore. Now, if the trips length is larger than 0, because if there's no trips, you can do it, and one of the parameters is set, then I use the created, because if neither after or before is set, means I'm on the first page. And if I'm on the first page, I should return a null. For the next parameter is the same. If my result set, so my snapshot length, the trips length, is the same as the limit, there must be next. Maybe. if the result set returned is less than the limit, I know there's no next page anymore. Now, it could be that you have a limit of 20 and you get exactly 20 results back, then you still will get a next parameter, and that next parameter then in return will return 0 and will reset the flag. So there's a little bit of an edge case. If your result set matches exactly the multiple of the limit, you might get one next too many. And then I return that as success and catch the errors and respond to the errors as you find appropriate. Now let's go to the browser to give a little bit of a demo on this. You see I'm calling my API admin trips limit is 2. If I run this, it will query and I get nicely 2 back. I can change the limit to another number. I can even remove it and I will get a lot more, and I should get 10 back because I think that's set to the default of the trip, and I get 10 back. And we will see that we 0 to 9, 10 back. There's no previous and there's a next. But let's go to a limit that is a little bit smaller, so it's easier to demonstrate. We have 2 trips. Limit is, you see, there's a typing mistake is very simply made. We get 2 trips and we get this after parameter. And now if I copy this into a parameter is, it will nicely return me again 2, but now you see we also have a previous page and I can use this copy to change this to a before, and we get our first result set again, and there's again a previous, and we need to check why that is the reason. But because I set the before parameter, so that's still a little bit of an edge case that is not there. So if you browse back to the previous, and this previous would actually return no results then, if we do that. And still results 1 because it does the before and there's no next. Went to the end. I need to investigate this, but you get the idea. With the after and before parameters, you can control the results that you want to get back. And for me, in an administrative console, I might do infinite scrolling, but probably I'll just show 20 results, show more, show more, show more, because most of the time I will only be interested in the most recent results anyway. And yeah, you just want to go through the end if you really want to do it. This way, at least I'm going to save a lot on reads on Firestore, what is from a cost perspective very a good thing to do, because you pay by the document read and I'm not just dumping 100 or even more in some cases. I just do it page by page. Eventually, I will also build this into the mobile apps where appropriate, because there it's even easier to do infinite scrolling and fetch it on the fly, and that way it's a good way to reduce the number of reads, and it's also increasing the performance of your application, because the Firebase Firestore team is very focused on that the query, let's say the query duration, so before you get results, should be linear with the number of results. So not so much with the number of documents in your data store, but the number of results. So retrieving 20 documents should be faster than retrieving 100 documents. And that means the overall performance will perceive a lot better when you do paging. Now, I hope you liked it. I hope it was useful for you. In the next episode, I will also build the client, the web client in Vue to show you and to demonstrate it even a little bit better than I could do just from the browser. But that is for another episode up into the future. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, subscribe anyway, because the next one might be better for you. I'll thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next episode.